Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. Fans, brews, and Broncos news.
Good evening, Broncos country. Welcome to another edition of Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. As you can see, I got David here with me, and he's back. We've been waiting for him. We've been dying for him. Jared, welcome back to the show, buddy. The crowd loves you. The crowd. By the way, this is recorded in front of a live studio audience, so that's who you heard. Yeah. So
yeah, was there cheering?
We're gone.
I heard.
Yeah. Well, guys, here we are. The Broncos are at 6-2 on week 8. If you remember back this time last year, we were at 5-3, so already one game better than we were a year ago. Number one in the AFC West, one game ahead of the Chargers, 2 games ahead of the Chiefs, and only one game behind the being tied for number one in the AFC in general. So there's a ton of great things to break down. Obviously, we have some tough news coming out about Pat Surtain. We're going to break that down and talk about what that's going to do for this next week's game. But guys, let's just jump right on into it. Jared, if you need some time to dust off the cobwebs or whatever, totally understand. It's been a while, but glad to have you back, man. So let's start with you, dude. Here you are, week 8. You saw the Cowboys game this last week here with us, and saw the Broncos put on a masterclass, basically. How you feeling, and what you thinking, man?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. It's I flew in on Thursday, flew into Colorado Saturday, and then went to the game Sunday. And man, was that such a fun freaking game to be at. So the first game back, I only got to watch 2 games while overseas. One of them was the Jets game because it was in London, so it was like relatively my time, and that wasn't a great one to watch. And then the other one was, I believe it was the Chargers game, which obviously ended not the way that we wanted to. So coming back and just seeing like a full 4 quarters from the Broncos, even after the initial slip up from Bo Nix in the first drive, just being able to see us put together a full game against a very beat up defense, I will say that. But honestly, it was so nice to be able to watch that and witness that live and be my first game back. So super happy for that. And hopefully that's what we're going to do for the rest of the season. But obviously we have some tough games ahead, and it's not going to be that easy. Don't want to say easy, but I'm gonna pause here because we're all thinking the same thing. David, what are you wearing? And please explain in detail.
I left that for you on purpose.
We'll see, Jared, as you know, a few years ago, while I was feeling confident about the Teddy Bridgewater Broncos or the True Broncos, who I can't remember which, but in a moment of rashness, I bet your brother-in-law, Jared, that the Broncos were going to have a better record at the end of the season than the Dallas Cowboys that year. And if I lost that bet, I had to wear this jersey on a show. Now, it's clearly been a few years, but the bet was remembered. And having had a chance to see your dear brother-in-law, who is, by the way, a wonderful man, the other day at the Cowboys-Broncos game, I had a chance to pay off that debt. Now, the visor.
Yes, please explain that as well in detail.
Gives me as much shame as anything I think I've ever done. And to be honest, Jared, I'm not entirely sure I remember why I'm wearing the visor. Did I go double or nothing one year?
You did. You double or nothing because you didn't want to wear the jersey.
That's right.
And Lalo gave you an out by saying he will accept by looking out for me wearing a visor and saying that you're part of Team Visor on the air. So I'm just waiting for it.
Yes, I am a part of. I'm a part of Team.
We're so close.
Part of Team Visor.
Oh, let's go. Let's
Oh,
go.
boy.
That's being added to every sound clip that we have from the rest of the show. Let's go.
You know, I will say this, though. For a person who has the proper amount of hair for an adult male, this look is not too bad.
It looks great
It's
on you.
not.
I do believe.
It really does. It really does.
That being said, Team Buffball for life. Everything that you guys heard me say was under duress.
No.
Jerry, all my crew, I haven't forgotten you, and this is temporary.
You say that, but by the end of the show, you might be going, I could maybe do this again. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, the
hold
good news
out
is I'm good with cutting, and I could just cut all that part out and just keep that I'm part of Team Pfizer in our sound clips.
Yeah, it'll be part of the intro next year as well.
I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Kev. Yeah.
Great.
Every show.
This is terrific.
Well, back to Broncos football, guys. Here's the thing. Here we are mid-season, and if you're going to get to mid-season form, mid-season is about the latest you want to actually get there, and that's what we saw. Broncos kind of really hitting their strides. Obviously, we know that the Cowboys' defense was ranked 32nd in the league, but you expect a good team to go out there and still play their A game against a bad team and not just play down to whoever they were, which was a concern of ours through the first half of the season. You look at the Jets game in particular, but it's like, well, is it traveling? Is it this? Is it that? Right. But here we are at home. You have a situation where you could play down to them and still probably put up enough points, but they didn't do that. They went out there and they made sure that the 32nd ranked defense stayed to the 32nd ranked defense, and the defense went out there and played their A game as well. So now you're looking at this could be a real turnaround, kind of like what we saw last year. Broncos offense finally got a game where they're like, here we go. And they rode that out the rest of the season. So, guys, question to you, is this the turning point for the season? Do you expect this to be like what we see from the Broncos offense more often than not? Or do you still have concerns about what we can see moving forward?
I think we're still probably in an area where I think we are seeing week-to-week improvement from the offense, and I think we're seeing them build on things. I watched Tim Jenkins' breakdown of Bo Nix's performance against the Cowboys, and one thing that really stood out to me today was how much they were calling out Bo for doing improving on things that he was doing even earlier in this season. Climbing in the pocket when there was really no need to. Just that unnecessary footwork. And guys, I think all of us would feel comfortable saying that we have seen improvement from Bo on bailing from clean pockets, which was a big issue last year. But there was still that little stuff to clean up, that moving around, that unnecessary movement when really all you needed to do was hitch or maybe step up one step in the pocket to get a little more juice on your throw. And he did a really good job against the Cowboys of not moving around unnecessarily in the pocket. And I think we saw that as much as anything lead to his best passing performance of the season. There were situations where the Cowboys got pressure on him and he still showed those good mechanics. There will be other scenarios this season where teams get better pressure on Bo Nix and are able to affect him more. So now it becomes a question of, do you see those good habits translate week to week before I'm ready to say, yeah, we're definitely off to the races now? But linear improvement, I think, it's still too much to ask, but I think we're seeing it generally go up and in the right direction now.
Yeah, honestly, like, great points on Bo Nix, and a lot of people are kind of focusing on his performance, but in general, we've already kind of seen it. We saw it last year. He has a couple missteps, and we're like, what is he doing with his footwork? And then, like, 2 games later, it's like clean. Like, the best thing I love about Bo Nix is that he's coachable, and you got a guy like Sean Payton coaching him. He's going to get better over and over, and we know what's going to happen. You're not going to have a perfect quarterback in the first couple of years, and that's fine as long as he continues improving, and he did it in this game against, a beat-up secondary in the 32nd ranked defense. So obviously there's not an asterisk there, but there's a little bit of cause concern. Is he going to be able to do it against a top secondary? What I was most impressed by in this game specifically was the run game. On that 40-yard scamper by R.J. Harvey, that little just kind of like, outside zone from the gun, he was not touched once. So, and those are some of the plays that we haven't run as often. Like you're seeing him kind of switch up his, Sean Payton switching up his run play calls as opposed to just trying to dive it down the middle and trying to get these guys on the outside. Like R.J. Harvey's run, and then I've seen it probably 50 or 60 times now on X and Facebook. And when you see Quinn Miners taking out 3 guys, just leveling them the whole way through. But, when he's untouched on a run like that for 40 yards, it gives me hope that the run game is going to start getting there as well. We've had a problem with blocking up front on the run game. Great blocking in the pass game, problem blocking in the run game. But I think you're starting to see maybe a little bit more of that, like, look, guys, this is why it's so important to do what we're doing, right? It's so important to make your blocks and get your guy, because if you can go 40 yards untouched on rookie running back untouched to the end zone, we can do that more often. We don't need to rely on the pass game as much as we have. And that's really what I think set the tone for this entire game, is the fact that we got the run game going, gave Bo the opportunity to drop back in the pocket when they don't know what's going on. The problem that we've been having in these close games is that everybody knows we're going to pass because we just can't get the run game going as well, right? So obviously we put a lot of that on Bo's shoulders, and he's been able to prove it. That Giants game was, proof number one. But we have to do that. He shouldn't have to do that. If we can get that run game going with RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins, who both had amazing games in this game, RJ with 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, just absolutely amazing. And I say all that stuff about, like, I don't want to give Bo too much credit, but that throw to Franklin in the corner, just or not Franklin. It was the rookie.
Bryant.
Bryant.
What about that whole shot to Courtland Sutton, that cover 2 shot where he puts it exactly where it needs to be? You're finally seeing him connect on those deeper shots a little bit, which is really good to see. And I think it's something we all kind of knew was going to come to him. They were only missing those by a little bit, but they were missing
exactly
week in and week out. And now you're kind of seeing it really come together.
And I don't know if you guys had $1 for every time I said this season, those passes were just right there. They're so, if Bo Nix isn't throwing, 10, 15, yards off his target, it's so close. It's like, how much more could you expect from him? And that's what we saw this week was, look, he still got hit 8 times. There were still 8 quarterback hits. So the pressure was still getting to him. It's not like he had, 10 seconds to stand there in the pocket and kind of contemplate his life choices before making a decision on what to do. So he was still thinking quickly, but like you said, he was planting his feet. He was showing good mechanics. These are the kind of things that we've been waiting for. It's connecting. And this is the kind of thing where these guys, and they talked about it in previous games where, we won, but we don't like how we won. We don't like having to be in these situations every time, and we recognize that that's not a winning formula. So whatever get together that they had, 2 weeks ago to say we need to get on the same page. We've got to talk better. We have to make sure we understand what every single person's doing. Plus, it seemed like there were maybe some adjustments. Somebody brought it up on the show last night. I can't remember, but talking about there seemed to be less package changes. It wasn't there was a flow to the offense, right? And we've been talking about that as well. So it's like if this offense has finally found out their footing, do we expect them to put up 44 points every week? No, probably not facing the worst offense or the worst defense in the league every week. However, if you have an offense that can get in a rhythm, you're talking about more field goals on top of touchdowns. You can put up 28 plus points a game. When you have a defense that's, holding teams to 24 or less pretty much every game, there's your winning formula. And that's where we're saying, like, who can stop the Broncos if the defense does what they've been doing and the offense does what they did this last week against the Cowboys?
Yeah, and I'll put a little asterisk on I don't want to put an asterisk on any of this because I think it's a well-earned win and everything. What I'm worried about, though, is the reason that we were going to those, the 4 wide sets or three wide with the running back, like single back. When we went to that because we knew that their DBs were beat up. They're playing guys that they pulled up from the practice squad. And when we spread them out, they have to go into a nickel dime package. So they were just taking advantage of the numbers that we had in that game. And obviously, Sean Payton's a great coach and did that for a reason. When we go on and we play some of these other teams who maybe have stronger DBs, not as strong linebackers, D linemen, you might see those packages come back and those package switches come back. I don't want people to get excited about like, oh, we're finally going 4 wide or we're finally going 4 wide, 1 running back. Like, okay, let's play with this a little bit. Like we do need that 1 tight end. Sometimes we need those 2 tight end sets, maybe 3 tight end sets. Get Garrett Bowles a touchdown after he the missed throw or the tip ball. But whatever it is, we're going to come back to that. And I think the real big reason for us going to that set and not having the changes as often is because of their depleted defensive backs. And he just took advantage of it, and it absolutely worked.
Yeah. But that shows good communication. That shows good game planning, right? And you're not going to go into every game with the same game plan, but you're looking at these guys. they feel the swagger, right? They're smiling, they're laughing, they're having a good time on the sideline, and they're finally feeling like this is what we've been working towards. This is what we've been trying to achieve, and just being able to put points up on the board in a very consistent manner. We scored points. 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, 13 points in the second. The third was the worst with only a field goal, but another 14 points in the fourth. Like, this was a team that kept the ball moving and kept getting points on the board. And that's what I said was they have got to find a way to spread out these points. So you can't, wait until the fourth quarter of these games, man. So if they take the concept of just like, hey, this is what worked for us in terms of helping us find a groove and a rhythm, and then apply that to the game plan, like this is a situation they can really build a solid foundation off of.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you guys a question, because I want to talk a little bit more about this run game. How many rushing yards do you think J.K. Dobbins has this season? Just ballpark it.
500.
Are you going that he just passed Javonte for the total yards? Is that
that wasn't gonna be the thing. That is interesting. What got me interested in this topic, but then I looked and I was just like, wow, that is a bigger number than I thought it was going to be. So that's not why I asked.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know he just passed Javonte by like 10 yards or 20 yards, something like that. But like, yeah, I mean, he's doing great. And obviously, the reason Javonte dropped so much, he was the second leading rusher going into this game.
Yeah.
But then you play a team like Denver, and we go up so fast, they just stopped giving him the ball. Like, they just gave up on it. The only time they gave it to the ball was they were in the the 2-yard line, and they had a couple of pass interference bullshit calls, and then they just ran it in. But for the most part, they just were not running in between the 20s at all, and that's kind of why he ended up dropping it. They were behind. That was the big part.
You're behind like 2 touchdowns going into the half, coming out of the half. So yeah, you kind of gotta pass a ton. You also, I think, Jared, that's the stat I was actually looking at was not about this year and Javonte Williams. It's actually that J.K. Dobbins has passed Javonte Williams' rushing total last year. Yeah, for the Broncos.
Gotcha.
And has 634 rushing yards on the season already.
Wow.
So man, what a difference that signing. It feels like it was just kind of a last minute throw in. And instead, every single week, it feels like you're seeing J.K. Dobbins just go out there and get a crucial run when they need it, get a huge chunk play. I think he has more 10-yard plus rushes than anybody in the NFL except Jonathan Taylor right now. Just an incredible veteran presence there, a guy who always seems to know where the right hole is, what the right cut to make is, really good vision, really patient runner, and just a stabilizing presence at a position that feels like we haven't had a clear answer there in so long. So it was really just more of a shout out to J.K. Dobbins for coming in with the injury concern this year and just being a rock.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this. I can't think of the last time we had a 1,000-yard rusher. And then the other thing I was thinking of is not just J.K. Dobbins. Yeah, probably. And then not just J.K. Dobbins, but like R.J. Hardy had a huge day in the run game as well. So how many total rushing yards do we have in that game? I just obviously, having J.K. Dobbins coming in and being that patient runner is awesome. But it looks like we're finally starting to get just the run game. Yeah, like not just one running back, just the run game is finally starting to get going, and we're starting to realize like what we can and what we can't do based on our strengths and weaknesses. And shout out, who was who came in at right guard?
Palchevsky. Alex Palchevsky.
Shout out to
second year.
Shout out to that man.
Yeah.
Like what a game to have coming in and just absolutely dominating. And, with an issue or with a concern that we all had, we were like, okay, we don't have our starting 5 up front, and this is going to be interesting. Let's see how this works out. And he just absolutely played his heart out. Shout out to him, man. What a great game from him.
Yeah.
Because who was it last week? I'm drawing blank on his name.
It was Palcho again. No, second week in a row for Palcho after Pert.
Oh, okay.
After Pert. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Palchevsky, absolute workman going in. You guys, it brought me back to that play we were talking about, the Quinn Miners, the RJ Harvey long touchdown run. I believe on PFF, and we all in Broncos country have our feelings about PFF this year, but every single Broncos player graded positively on that play, which is it's something we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, guys. Execution. And it was a whole offense problem. It was from the coaching staff to the quarterback down. It was just a lack of execution. And that's something that's really great to see is because now you see it. Now you have proof of what it looks like when the execution is right by everybody. Just that should give the team a real good springboard, I hope.
Yeah,
Jerry,
it is different. I'll tell you what, it's different. It's different too, because you're looking at this and you're watching the game and you're like, man, everyone's just doing the thing. And there's a mentality of, in practice, you put it in like, look, if you block this guy, you block this guy. This guy's only got to beat one person, and if he's out of position, which is the coach's job, get the one-on-one out of position.
Right.
Then we're going to score every time we call a play. And then both seeing it in a game and actually being able to execute it and having that high of like, holy shit, coach is right. Like this, we all just did the one thing we need to do. Like, so all I need to do is get leverage on this guy just a little bit, and then I can get to my next guy. And Quinn Myers obviously blowing up 3 people helped, but just in general, he didn't have to make that third block. The first 2 blocks, he knocked 2 guys on their ass. Yeah. And so that just opened up and I think one of them was the one-on-one. So it just opened him up for taking it off. And when you see it in the game and when you execute it, you're like, oh man, if we could just do this every time. And obviously this is the NFL. People are going to, out maneuver. They're going to out position you. Some of them are stronger. They're going to be able to, move around you. But it was just cool to see, and hopefully it gives them that momentum of like, hey guys, this is what it should look like. Now let's continue this on and carry it on for the second half of the season.
Yeah. Now here's one good point that I know I was worried about going into this game, especially when it comes to the Broncos history with covering tight ends. It's just something we've talked about, right? Especially just with the injuries and everything we've had with inside linebackers. And we're talking about Justin Ferguson. And going into this last week's game, after week 7, he had the best start that any tight end in NFL history had ever had. I mean, better than any other of these big name tight ends that you know of. So it was like, this is a guy that they could very easily, try to leverage the weakness the Broncos have just historically shown on blocking and keeping the tight end at bay. But as Christopher here points out, Ferguson didn't even have a catch. Yeah, we totally shut that down as well. So it's like every facet of the Cowboys offense was basically just shut down. And that you're talking about a full team defense working in conjunction there.
If I'm not mistaken, I think both of our interceptions were targeted to Ferguson.
Oh, were they really? I didn't even think about that.
At the very least, the first one was for sure. I can't remember on the second one.
I remember the second one was the defensive lineman catching it and rumbling down the field was definitely a pass to Ferguson. And I didn't remember if the first one was. If you said the first one was, then yeah, absolutely. Sure both of those interceptions were targeting him.
And that actually,
and you're talking about dropping a defensive lineman, a defensive nose tackle, basically into coverage.
Yeah. Well, now, and so that actually really, I think that transitions into the Pat Surtain conversation well, and this is how. Jedi Baron, I'm still working on that, so sorry, I'm sure Jedi.
It's like Jedi. It's like Jedi from Star Wars. That's how I remember it.
Anyway, so at all rates, first career interception, traveling that with Ferguson right down, step for step down the seam, on a route that a good tight end like Ferguson makes his money on. And Barron was in the exact perfect position, makes the play. And guys, that transitions to the Pat Surtain conversation, because as we've, heard this week, Surtain pec strain, out 4 to 6 weeks potentially. Could have been a lot worse, guys. Honestly, could have easily been a season-ending injury in that area of the body. So we've got to thank our lucky stars that it wasn't worse. But with Surtain out for what will be an extended period of time now, you've got to think about who's going to replace him on that that other outside corner spot. Chris Abrams-Draine came in the Cowboys game and played well. I think he allowed every target that was sent his way to be caught. Guys, I have to give KAD a little bit of a pass for that. By the time he came into the game in the second half, the Broncos were already up 2 scores. I think at that point, the defensive game plan was not, we're not going to play press coverage. We're going to play off. We're going to keep every play in front of us. If they score, they're going to have to score slowly instead of quickly. That was the game plan. He tackled everything that was in front of him. I think he did his job on Sunday, which is my way of saying that I think they're going to try and keep Barron in the same role that he's in, rotating in at the slot, playing the nickel, playing the dime backer. covering those tight ends on the seams and trying to play that tight end eraser instead of moving him outside, even though he has played both in his college career.
I mean, this is going to be one that we need to watch closely, and I don't know what they're going to do. Obviously we love Chris Abrams-Drain's he's definitely not a replacement for the reigning defensive player of the year, right? But
no one is.
Regardless of what happens, you're going to see the defensive game plan being called differently. We're not going to be able to keep, one side on an island and just not worry about a half of the side of the field because we got Pat over there. We now have to worry about the whole field again and going back to this is one of those things that, defensive coordinators in the NFL make their money for, right? Like, what do you do? Yeah, when you have all the great numbers and all the great players, you could throw whatever play you want out there and it's going to be successful. But now you have to kind of game plan for not having your number one guy out there. So what are you going to do? Are you going to put Barron out on the outside? Because honestly, he's probably the guy that would be the next step to go on the outside. Or do you keep him in the inside because he's been playing that way for the first 8 games? And I don't know. I don't know what that answer is. And regardless, you're going to see a lot less man press coverage. I'll tell you that. You're probably going to see a lot of Tampa 2, cover 3, which is going to be interesting going into this game. And the cool part about this from a defensive coordinator position, now I'm nerding out on the coaching side of it, but the cool part about this is that they have no film on that. So we're not playing with Pat Surtain, but it gives us a little bit of an advantage when we go into game planning and install for the defensive side that they have no film on what we're going to look at. Like they have no idea what we're going to run most of the game because they're used to playing some sort of like hybrid coverage of man on one side with Pat and then zone on the other, or double man with like zone middle zone coverage. You're not going to have that this game, and they don't know what they're going to go up against. They're not going to know what they see. So I think it gives BJ a chance to be creative and open up things like a nose tackle getting an interception.
Chris, I don't know if you're trolling right now, but no, this did not happen. This did not happen. No, that is whoever told you that, if you heard it's accurate. No.
That didn't happen.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you guys are right. I mean, one thing I mentioned last night was for the Texans side, because we're about to hit halftime here on the show. For the Texans side of things, they're looking at this, and obviously nobody's happy about anybody getting injured, right? That's not the case here, but when it does happen, it is part of the game. And you see somebody like Pat Surtain go out. You saw it last year against the Chargers. Pat Surtain goes down. All of a sudden, the Chargers go, okay, now we have a chance, right? And you get some fire lit up. Now, that obviously happened right at the start of the game. You can't adjust a game plan once you're already in the game, at least not to too much of an extent. So here you have the Texans maybe going, and 𝐒𝐿 Collins going, okay, like maybe I could have a big day here, right? And kind of feeling themselves like the Broncos have a hole now. They're not this big scary teams that maybe they were with Pat Surtain. But I think you're dead on. We have the advantage. If you're looking at Vance Joseph and giving Vance Joseph all the credit that we have, since he's turned things around here in Denver on the defensive side of the ball, this is an advantage for the Broncos because he's like, they don't know what we're going to do. So mix it up, make them guess. As soon as they think that they have something figured out, you twist it up on them, right? So this could be a very, you're talking about a chess match that comes into, what football is. This could be a big one. And it's not so much Sean Payton versus the Texans head coach. It's more like Broncos defensive coordinator versus Texans offensive, play caller. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of factors that go into this too. And ultimately, like, obviously, every team you play is going to have a different defensive set. They're going to have a different offensive set. And yeah, there's a little bit of an advantage that he could take here, but it's going to be different. And there's going to be a lot of install defense this week. And there's going to be a lot of interesting. We're going to see some different sets get put out. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Barron at least 25% of the time playing on the outside. Like, he's a guy that you don't take out of the game, right? So, like, if they're going into a heavy set and they got 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends, I think you keep Barron out there, right? And you put him on the outside. So these are the things that are going to be interesting to watch as we go into the game, and interesting to see. So, yeah.
Well, just as we wrap up the first half of the show here, I will say, like, the Pat Surtain injury definitely hurts. But this is where you look at the Broncos have somebody on the team that has just been rock solid for so long. And you got to be thankful that we have Mitch Fabroni as our long snapper, because when you have somebody like that, I mean, Sean, I know you've got to be super excited too, just we're set. We'll be okay. Mitch will, rally the troops and make sure everyone stays on the same page. Jared's like, I'm already wanting to go back on deployment. I'm sick of that.
These are the things I missed for sure. Mitch for Bourbon left.
Anyway, guys, it is halftime here at Bourbon Broncos And No B.S. So grab your orange slices or refill your bourbon glass, whatever you want to do. We're going to get through some announcements, and then we'll move on to Week 9 here in the NFL. So first off, guys, this show, our flagship show of Bourbon Broncos No BS, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We also got a pregame podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you check us out there as well. Hit that follow and subscribe button for us. Game day. Normally what we do on game days is 1 hour before kickoff. We start live with our Tailgate Talk show, and then we're live during every halftime show as well. We have started a new thing where one away game a month. We're going to be live during the entirety of a Broncos game, covering it, doing our live reactions and everything, chatting with you guys throughout the game and hanging out with y'all. This will be the second iteration. This will be the November version of that, as we are going to be live 1 hour before the Texans game and staying live all the way through the very end of the game. So make sure you tune in on Sunday starting 1 hour before kickoff and hang out with us during the entire game. Chat with us, watch with us, share your instant reactions as we break it all down in real time and see what the Broncos have planned to try and come away with another road win here down in Texas. Following that, Monday nights at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, we have our post-game podcast live on all the different platforms like this one is here. So make sure you tune in every Monday night at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Also, make sure you follow us on YouTube and Facebook and all those different places. We push out different videos throughout the week as well for you guys to check out. And then if you just want to find all the latest content and wonder like, hey, where is it? Where's the latest of this or that? Head on over to the website, broncosandbourbon.com. Sign up for free this year. No credit card or any of that kind of information required. We will be introducing paid membership tiers next year. But the good thing for you guys is if you sign up for free this season, before the end of the 2025 season, you'll be automatically upgraded for free to the next level of the membership tier once we introduce that next season. So this is the time to get on it. Find all of our latest content. Find the articles that we're writing. Enjoy those. Look at the fan zone section. This is a website that's still getting built out, so it's going to take a little time because I am not a professional website designer in any way, shape, or form. However, the fact we got it to where it is kind of a miracle on all its own. My computer did not end up across the room like I really thought it was going to a couple of times there. But either way, guys, head on over. This is the time to sign up. So with that being said, guys, turn on the alarm lights, ring the alarm bells, whatever. We are leaving week 8 behind. The win was great and all. The Broncos are 6-2. That's fantastic. We got a new challenge ahead of us, and that is the Texans in week 9 as the Broncos are set to head down there this weekend for that matchup. So, guys, let's break it down. Share your instant thoughts here following what the Broncos have done this last week in the first half of the season. David, start with you, man. Like, what are some of your initial thoughts when it comes to who are the Texans, what have they been doing, and how is that matchup going to look like against the Broncos?
Well, I mean, let's start with the obvious thing. The Texans are the best defense the Broncos have faced all season. A lot like the Chargers in terms of what they can do just to create havoc. A lot like the Broncos in the star power that they've got. We've got Derek Stingley. Yes, you guys are all in bed with me tonight. It's all right. I was kind of hoping only to invite Jared into the bed, but it's pretty big, so we got room.
Then I showed up and brought all these people with me.
You guys can all join. We can group it.
Yeah, cuddle puddle. Okay, so but in the star power, they've got that that star corner in Derek Stingley and that star pass rusher in Will Anderson plus Danielle Hunter. They've got a really, really potent defensive front there. So, yeah, it is going to be a really fascinating spot to see how this Broncos offense responds to their best game of the season by far, and now they go up against maybe their toughest opponent of the season so far.
Yeah. I mean that's the big numbers is like obviously our defense is going to do its thing. We just talked about the Pat Surtain injury, and that's rough. And we're going to have to be able to, create havoc ourselves. But the big thing that the Broncos have not done well on in the few games that I've watched is disguised coverages, disguised blitzes. We are not doing a good job of picking up the stunts and stuff, and that's what these guys are good at. So that's something to watch out for this game. They're very good at the stunts, very good at disguised coverages, which again our defense is as well, which makes it so successful. And that's something that we're going to really have to game plan for this game from the offensive side. On the defensive side, obviously, what are we going to do? Stroud's been having a decent year. And I think really ultimately it's going to come down to can we get pressure on him? We did not get much pressure to Dak Prescott. I think we had 2 sacks, both from the interior defensive line. But we really didn't actually get a lot of pressure to Dak Prescott. Now, I don't think this offensive line in Houston is the same as the offensive line in Dallas. So I think that we'll be able to provide that. But those are it's going to be a battle of the trenches in this game. Both teams have very good DBs and skill players on the wide receiver side. So I think that it's going to be an interesting matchup out there, but it's really good. The battle is going to be won in the trenches for sure.
Yeah.
Agreed. Lots of things going on there. A couple comments here to get answered. Keith says, I'm sure Jared is lonely after deployment. 2 look like 10s. Just so everyone knows, I'll save you here, Jared. Jared's married, so every other woman is a 0 out of 10. It doesn't matter what's going on. See, I got you.
Use that later.
I got you.
Yeah. Use that.
Sean asked, does Jared know about Crawdaddy? I think you do from the comments, from the group chat.
Oh, the punter.
Yeah, it's Crawdaddy. It's Crawdaddy to us.
It's Crawdaddy.
Crawdaddy,
okay.
Sir.
We didn't see much Crawdaddy last week, so I didn't get to see the chance, which was great.
Yeah, this was very great. Which was very great for sure, guys. Look, this is a situation where the Broncos have shown that they have the grit. They have that drive, right? They're not going to give up. And I can't remember who mentioned it on last night's show, but you look back to Broncos being down 19-0, even 28 or 23-8 or whatever it was. When the Cowboys were down by 10, 13, whatever points, going into the fourth quarter, they started, sitting some of their star players. Just saying we see what's going to happen. We're just going to take the loss. What did the Broncos do when they were down 23? Did they say, we're just going to take the loss. Let's protect our quarterback. Let's make sure Sutton doesn't get hurt. No, they went all out. And I think there you're seeing a total difference in culture and mindset between, teams like that. And so when you have a team like the Broncos that are, they recognize what they can do. They know they can get themselves, or at least fight in any kind of situation, no matter how bleak the situation looks. These are all things that you want from a young team. This is the foundation you can build off of, right? So it's going to be a tough game. I don't think that the Texans are going to, roll over by any means. But if you go back to the beginning of the season, when the schedule dropped, this was a game that everybody had as an automatic L for the Broncos. I'd say 80% of people were saying this is just. There were a lot of people, David. I know you're questioning it. You go back and look. Because I said, what are you guys talking about? A lot of people were like, there's no way the Broncos are going to beat the Texans. But I think you're sitting here saying, obviously that's not the case here for a multitude of different reasons, even with Pat Surtain being out. But I guess I'm just kind of curious, in terms of the Texans offense, I don't see anything on paper there that minus Pat Surtain being out, the Broncos defense should be able to handle the Texans offense pretty, I don't say easily, but have they had really much tougher challenges?
I'll say this outside, Nico Collins looks like he's coming back from concussion protocol this week. So that's a legit wide receiver. However, with no offense to the rest of the players on the Texans, those Iowa State receivers are not George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and Jay Ferguson. Dalton Schultz there's a lot to like about these players and their potential, but I don't see, from a skill position standpoint, the same kind of dangerous players that the Cowboys have to offer there. Does that mean that the Broncos defense is going to stymie the Texans the same way that they stymied Dallas? No, it doesn't. Anything could happen. But just on paper, the matchup is a little bit different from a talent perspective, it seems to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say it again, and I'm probably going to say it 15 times before we end the show. It's going to be a battle of the trenches here. And really, I do like our defensive line versus their offensive line. I think this is not the toughest offensive line we've seen by far. And I think that we'll be able to get the pressure onto.
I'm sorry, Jared. I have to rant about the Texans offensive line here for just a second. Because, man, the entire offseason, the Houston Texans got so much credit for trading away the best player on their offensive line in Laramie Tunsil and bringing in replacement offensive line players that got cut from other teams. And the only reason that they get credit for these moves is because their last year's offensive line was bad. So they replaced them with bad players and get a new coaching staff. And everybody thought this was fine. Like, man alive, I cannot tell you some of the wish casting and the dreams that I heard come out of analysts' mouths about the Texans offensive line, about how it was going to be fine to maybe even above average this year, just because things changed, not because they went from unproven commodities to proven commodities, but because things were different. And man alive, it has not turned out that way. And boy, I hope the Broncos just go belt to ass this week. That is all I have to say.
I'm glad I put you up on the big stage for that one, buddy. I'm really happy I did that. It was worth it.
Thank you.
Well, our friend Ken in the comments here did some numbers for us, and these are numbers that there's math involved, and so it's kind of good math here, and it's backed up by some of the betting projections that I saw. Let me read this out. Basically, Denver's pass protection is number 1. The Texans is number 30. The Broncos run block is ranked number 16th, while the Texans is ranked number 32. In general, you're looking at very even stuff across the board. And when you look at the betting market here, the matchup predictor, I mean, it's ESPN is saying 49.9 to 49.7 in favor of the Broncos. Like, they're calling it as even as you can get, which for a road game, I mean, there's, I think, usually you give the 3 points or whatever to the home team.
2.5. Yeah.
Right. I don't know if they're really doing that. Like, and right here, the game odds for the ESPN Bet Sportsbook, we're not sponsored by them, just what it says here. Only, calling it Texans by 1.5. So, interesting things there. Like, and it's just more like, hey, are these people finally like waking up and saying, hey, maybe we should take the Broncos a little seriously? They keep winning 5 in a row now, guys.
I mean, I think all of the NFL.com analysts picked the Broncos to beat the Cowboys on Sunday. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think a big part of this is, one, I think the Pat Surtain injury does a lot more danger to us.
Yeah,
just in general, in the betting world specifically, I think the Pat Surtain injury is huge. I think it was the same thing with the Laramie Tunsil injury. Not Laramie Tunsil. Who's the Chargers? Was it Tunsil? No, who was the on the Chargers got injured preseason? Everybody had him finishing second. And then all of a sudden everyone was like, "Yep, no more." That Slater injury is bigger than I think everybody's expecting. They're not going to be like the big team because of one injury. And I think that a lot of people are thinking that this defense is built around Pat Surtain. Well, I think a lot of the defense is partially built around Pat Surtain. We have guys like Bonito, and we have guys like Cooper, and we have guys like, all these guys that are on the defense that can that create havoc, as David said earlier. And again, the offensive line of the Texans are not good. I think this is based on those numbers, the worst offensive line we've seen. And that includes, I think we had 6 sacks against one of the teams, was the Jets or something. We had
9 against the Jets. Yeah.
Yeah, we had 9 sacks against the Jets. I can imagine us putting up about the same numbers against the Texans. Now I know it's in Houston, but I don't like those numbers, orange or blue goggles a little bit, but I don't like those numbers. I do think this game but I think it's going to be a slog. I will say that. I think this is going to be a slog, and I think we only need a couple touchdowns to be able to win this game. I think our defense can do the job that it needs to do.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, yeah, you're right. I mean, the defense, Pat Surtain is a cornerstone of the defense, but I don't think they've built it around to where, if you lose that piece, everything else crumbles. Right. I think they've done a really good job and you see it when somebody goes down, the next guy that goes up. I mean, how often do we say oh man, this guy got injured and it was from there, we were hosed. Right. This team is very good about, and they have that culture of next man up, and the understanding of the responsibility is when your name gets called, you better be ready to go. Right. And everybody's holding each other accountable very clearly in that regard. So it's very awesome to see.
We got something I want to say too, real quick. I want to say I was watching I think it was Tony Romo being interviewed after the game. I don't know if it was right after the game or during the thing. Say what you want about Tony Romo and whether you like him or not as a quarterback or as an announcer. He's done a lot of time in the league and he knows these things. But the Denver defense, what he says he loves about the Denver defense is he knows everybody in the backfield, the secondary of the Denver defense knows that they have a clock in the back of their head. They know that they only have to cover the guy for a certain amount of time before they know that their guys are going to get pressure. And that's like every single play. And I don't think that's going to change. I think just because we have Pat Surtain out, that it means like the quick throws are going to be a little bit difficult. We're going to have to look at the quick throws. But that the long stuff, the middle to the deep stuff, we're still have that clock. And we just have to cover that until we know that Cooper, Benito, Franklin Myers, any of those guys are going to get in the backfield. You know, Zach Allen, which I have a couple questions about injuries because I didn't look it up before the game. Again, hey, look at this as a preseason for me. This is my first game back. All right. I didn't look up the numbers before. There's a couple people that I'm worried. Zach Allen went down, I think, or was it Franklin Myers? One of the two went down with an injury in the game, and then the other one was Marvin Mims. I'm interested to see if one of you guys can pull up the status of those two players. I know Marvin Mims went in concussion protocol, and then we had defensive linemen that went down too. But regardless, I think going back to the Tony Romo thing, he was saying like, the best part about our defense is that we know that we have a clock in the back of the head. We only have to cover for a certain amount of time. The double moves really aren't going to be there because we're going to get pressure on Stroud. I think regardless, especially with what they know about their offensive line, they're going up against the number one defensive line, I think, in the league. As far as inside, I mean, we have the most sacks in the league still to this day, and we only got, 2 yesterday or 2 days ago. So I think that all those things considered, we'll be able to get the pressure to them. We just need to cover for a certain amount of time. So for this game specifically, I think it works out well in our favor to be able to have big games from Riley Moss and Jedi Barron and I don't know why I keep forgetting his name on the other side that we put in.
Hufanga?
No, the other corner on the that we put in.
Chris Abrams-Drain.
Yeah, Abrams-Drain. I think they're gonna have decent games. I really do. I think they're gonna have decent games. It's not gonna be the same against everybody. Got to remember, yes, we destroyed the Cowboys, and our defense did so well against the number one offense in the league. Like, we forget about that. That was the number one offense in the league. And yeah, they put up some numbers, and you know, credit, it's garbage time, but credit to the backup quarterback for hitting that touchdown in the corner. Beautiful throw. Like, from a quarterback standpoint, it's just a beautiful throw. I can't even be mad. Like, backup quarterback throwing that is awesome.
Let's see here. Love it, man. From Brad, our friend down in Australia, checking in there, saying, let's see, if only Jerry Jeudy was around now that we have a quarterback. I think we're good with where we're at. Look, and the reason I bring it up is because, not just because Jerry Jeudy's Jerry Jeudy, but the big highlight from this last week's game was the rookies. You know, RJ Harvey, Pat Bryant, right? Jahdae Barron, all get involved. And you're talking about, again, taking advantage of the opportunity you have in front of you. So you're talking about these guys looking to get more involved, especially as the second half of the season gets going here. You're talking about these guys, talking about a confidence boost. You know, here we are, like, okay, Jahdae Barron gets his first interception. Pat Bryant, first touchdown. I think RJ Harvey, I wouldn't be surprised if he's rookie of the week this week. Right. So, I mean, this is a deep roster with a lot of bright future in front of it and potential that they have. But they're young, right? And so you see that they're learning, and it's not just Bo Nix that's progressing. I think it's all of these young guys. You're seeing more and more from each one of them, which is just beautiful to see.
Yeah, Pat Bryant has more touchdowns than Jerry Jeudy on the season, and has more receiving yards than Jerry Jeudy does on the season. So
yes,
I'm good.
Facts.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Facts. Yeah. Thanks, though.
For the record, though, I wish nothing but the best for Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, right. No, of course.
Mad about it.
Yeah,
he had a couple drops. Right, there were some issues. It just was timing. It was the same thing with Javonte Williams. Like, it was a timing thing on his contract year. It's all these things. I wish nothing but the best for them. And obviously Javonte doing great in Dallas and Jeudy a couple of years ago, and this year he's doing okay in Cleveland. Cleveland's just nobody. Why go to Cleveland? That's the only. Anyways,
right.
Nothing but the best for them.
Yeah.
Well, guys. One thing to keep in mind here as we keep this, the season rolling along here. Broncos sitting at 6 wins. That means we are 4 wins away from hitting 10 on the season. And we said if and when we hit 10 wins this season, we will be giving away 3 Bo Nix jerseys, number 10 jerseys, celebrating our 10th anniversary. If you guys are sitting here watching this going, why does it feel like 2016, 2017, 2018 timeframe? It's because you got the OGs on the show here tonight. The 3 OGs, myself, David, and Jared. We've been doing this for 10 freaking years. It's freaking amazing. And so to celebrate that, guys, again, 10 wins on the season. Yeah, just hide that. We're going to 10 wins on the season is going to equal us giving away 3 Bo Nix jerseys. So get ready for it, guys. It could happen as soon as a month from now. You never know. So either way, we're looking good. But you do got to remember the last time the Broncos were 6-2, we ended the season 9-7, missing the playoffs back in 2016. So all I'm saying is this team, as long as they keep the right attitude, as long as they keep going with what they're doing, and you can't say like, oh, am I going to jinx it? This is a different coaching staff. This is a different culture. This is a different mindset, right? We have a franchise quarterback. We have everything going right for us that we didn't have back in 2016. So I like where we're at, guys. I mean, just as we start to wrap this up, I mean, yeah, we could be 8-0. I get it, but this is a pretty damn good spot to be at halfway through the season.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is going to NFL. We could go back and look at the 2 losses as if like whatever, right? Like we could go back and be like, oh, we could have won those games, but like it's the NFL, and any given Sunday something's going to happen. And look at the Giants game. Like nobody thought we were going to win that game, and we came back and won the game. And any given Sunday, we could have lost that game. That could have been one of those. We're one play away from losing that one. Regardless of what it is, we're 6-2. And we're going into a good spot, and we have the progression that we're seeing. It's not like, oh, we're winning games closely. We're winning a couple games closely, but we're also winning games like on merit and like not based on stupid penalties or whatever the case may be. We're winning games because we're doing the right things at the right time. And that's the difference. And that's what I feel the difference is going in the rest of the season.
You're winning games a lot of different ways, and you're only a few plays away from being 8-0, despite the fact that you have not played your most complete game of the season until week 8. So there's a lot of ceiling that you can still bump up against, and I am really excited that we seem to be on this kind of trajectory right now. I still don't know that guys, we still have a second-year quarterback. All of these offensive skill players, except for Cortland Sutton, and J.K. Dobbins are really young. Just give it more time. Don't be surprised if it's frustrating a couple more times this season on offense. And don't think of it as the sky is falling if we don't look as amazing as we did against the Cowboys every week going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, to your point, Dave, too, I don't want everybody, like, obviously we're going to get upset. Like, we're on a 5-game win streak right now. Right?
Yeah,
it's going to end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to end.
It will. Everything comes to an end eventually.
We're going to have our struggles. And I think to David's point, like, our offense is young and our defense is without our defensive player of the year. I mean, we're going to have some struggles. We're going to probably get points put up against us that we're like not used to. I don't think it's going to be this week for the record. However, in the future, I think they're going to put up some points that we're not used to putting up. And let's not call the skies falling. Let's not call for everyone's head, right? I already see a bunch of people calling for Riley Moss. Like, the dude has been absolutely
you look at the stats. The stats amazing. Are showing that he's a top cornerback in the league.
Percentage-wise for targets, the dude's doing great. And I think he's doing an amazing job. Like, anybody can be angry at him. Now let's see what happens without Pat Surtain on the other side. And then he's not being the one target all the time. And maybe he gets a couple. I can see a pick from him this week, but ultimately, I don't want to call for the skies falling. I don't want to call for people to be like, we need to cut this guy. Like, we are in a good spot, and we're going to lose a game here in the future. And I don't put it out there. Like, there's no way we finish it out. As much as I want to put blue and orange goggles on, like, there's no way with the young team that we have. We have some learning things we need to learn. I'd rather learn them now than in December and January, going into the end of the season and into the playoffs.
You'd rather know them going into, man, I feel like those last 2 weeks of the season are going to be crucial somehow. I don't know if it's going to be get in or as a playoff seeding thing, but you get the
home field
back to back. Yeah. And so it could come right down to the wire. I don't know, guys, how are we feeling about our preseason predictions of 12, 13, 14 wins we had?
I'm feeling good. I like my 13 projection. I think this team is capable of stealing another couple wins, and they've shown that they're a team that's going to fight to the end. And Yeah, and good teams find ways to win games that even they're not supposed to, right? And they put the teams away that they are supposed to. And that's what we're seeing for the Broncos. It's not always pretty, but they're getting the job done, and they're getting the numbers in the right columns that they're supposed to be, adding up those wins. So I like it. I'm sitting here going like, okay, we're on track for 12 or even 13 wins.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if I switched myself to 12 before the season starts, but I think if I looked again at the schedule today, and that's probably where I see us ending.
Yeah.
11 or 12 seems like the right number for where we're at right now.
But we get 12, I think we win the AFC West. We
Yeah.
get 12, I think we are sitting at least for the wild card home game. And I at that point, I think that's what we want. And that's the best we can hope for at this point in the season. And we have, 9 games left?
Man, I can't tell you.
There's 3 there. There's 3 there that we can look at and we can drop if we need to, right?
Yeah.
Dude.
I can't tell you how much I want to see the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs this year. Oh my God. First of all, I'm tired of Aaron Rodgers' face. Second of all, they've beaten us like the last 2 times in a row we faced them, and they had no business beating us. We should have won both of those games if I remember. I am just aching to get my hands on the
ready for it.
Ooh.
I love it.
We'll see.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, stick around. We have our closing thoughts coming up, but I have a couple quick announcements for everyone. It looks like, first off, Ken says he's going to be able to make it to the Chiefs game in a couple weeks. And, so third remaining, strength of schedule. It's something to watch for, right? It is what it is, but the Broncos, again, I like where they're at. I like where their heads are at, more importantly than anything else. They're all on the same page. They understand the goals, and they're all working towards it in the same direction, which, again, something we haven't seen outside, between the Peyton Manning years and the Sean Payton years. So, but as Ken says, he's going to be out there in the Chiefs game. I just want to bring it up because I want to make sure you all know, if you're ever going to a Broncos game in Denver, you are all more than welcome and invited to come join us at the Flagman tailgate in the back of Lot C. You can't miss it. All the dozens and dozens and dozens of flags flying. It's pretty hard to miss. Roy, in our comments here, he came out and met us a few weeks ago at one of the previous games. Great to meet him. So, guys, if you want a place to tailgate, if you want a place to hang out before the games, come on back to the south side of Lot C there and look for where we're tailgating. The only game that changes is for the Raiders game. We're still in Lot C. Just look for all the flags. You're not going to miss it. Also, guys, again, don't forget, we have the game day show coming up this Sunday, where we're going to be live during the entirety of the Broncos game, chatting it up and sharing our thoughts and reactions. So tune on in as the Broncos are playing. It starts 1 hour before kickoff for their tailgate talk show, and then we're just going to keep cruising on in through the rest of the game. And then before that, make sure you check out the pregame podcast to get all the other last minute and more in-depth information of what to expect. So we're halfway through the season, believe it or not. I still feel like we were just talking about the Titans game in week 1, like 2 days ago. It's seriously, why can't the offseason go by this fast? It's kind of ridiculous and unfair, but whatever. I sent in my complaint to the, but they've never gotten back to me. So anyway, guys, let's do some closing thoughts. Broncos are 6-2, number 1 in the AFC West, and that's exactly where we want to be. But David, buddy, let's start with you, man. How you feeling and what you thinking?
Man, it is for when you think about the way this season has felt and how hard it has been at times, and then you look and you're like, oh wait, we're 6-2. It's like, man, you can quibble and quabble about the way that we got here, but at the end of the day, wins are wins. Quabble. It's a word. And I don't know, man. It is really exciting to be talking about an effective Denver Broncos team that is winning games despite not being at their ceiling and having more improvement to come. And it's really, really cool to see what they're building right now, especially on offense, what these young players are getting up to right now. The RJ Harveys, the Pat Bryants, the Troy Franklins of the world. Like, man, if we could add a young playmaking tight end to this group, you might have a core that you can build around for the next decade. And if that's the case, it's a really cool time to be a Broncos fan.
Makes the last 10 years worth it, right? Sitting through that, dealing with it.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Green Bay Packers just go from quarterback to quarterback like it's nothing. So
they got whatever witchcraft.
Well, the fact that it's technically possible makes me think that we could have done it too. We just didn't. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, what do you have to quabble about going to this game? Am I using that right? Did I use it?
We'll do a seminar after the show. Its meanings are subtle.
I have a thing happening. I've got to feed my fish, so I won't be able to make that seminar. I don't know, man. Like, obviously, being the first game to be able to watch coming back was awesome. And I don't want to be the Debbie Downer in any way, shape, or form. I also just I want to kind of I don't know, maybe not be super stoked, being like, hey, we're gonna finish this season, finishing it all out. Like, there's a lot to learn. And to David's point, I think it's important to know that we have a young team that are still learning. And this is the first time in at least 10 years. I mean, even before Peyton Manning, where we've had a situation where we're looking at a team that's going to have the longevity to be a team for a while. And right now, I can't think of any. David mentioned, that's why I kind of rolled my eyes. I can't think of any position specifically that I'm like, we absolutely need this position next offseason, or we need to trade to get this position. I can't think of that position. Even at tight end, I mean, picking up Evan Ingram, right? I do think that we don't really have that many holes in our team right now that I have to that we're going into the offseason or going into this way, be hey, we need to hit the trade deadline now to pick up XYZ. I don't think we have that. And I think that's the first time in a long time I felt that way. And it's a nice feeling. And looking at 6-2, and not just 6-2, not just the record, but being number one in the AFC West halfway through the season, when everybody counted us out and everyone's saying that we're going to finish third. I absolutely love it. I'm a little bit hesitant on the fact that people are saying that we're a top 5 team in the league right now, which we are technically by the record. I'm a little worried about how we're going to feel about that and how we're going into it. We're not used to being the favorites in anything. We're not used to being a top 5 team. We're used to being, kind of middle of the road. But in general, I'm just feeling good about the Broncos, man. Not just right now, not just next week, just for the rest of the, next 5-6 years. I think we finally figured out, we finally got, a quarterback of the future. We finally got running backs that are going to do their thing. Of offensive line, defense is just absolutely doing everything they need to do. It's a good feeling, and I'm super happy for it, and I can't wait for the rest of the season.
Yep. A lot of good things, guys. And one name we didn't even talk about tonight, Ziggy says we need Greenlaw back. We need him to stay healthy. He is healthy. He just hopefully we don't have any refs that push our players that he has to then go defend, right, and get suspended for. Basically, as long as we don't have Brad Allen again, we'll be fine. But yes, having Greenlaw back this next week, we saw in his first game back, he played pretty well. He was making some tackles and stuff, and making his presence known on the field. So this last week, it was good that we didn't. It would have been nice to have him, but we didn't need him, right? So he got an extra week to recoup after. I think, if you don't play a football game for over a year and you've been working back from injury and stuff, and you play a full game like that, your body's got to be in some type of shock, right? So I'm fine with him having the extra week to kind of recoup and get his body back in order before he goes back out there this week. So look, you're right. The future's there. The players are in place. We have the coaching staff that's built a culture, and they all understand the goal. Again, they're all working towards the same direction. And that's what you need, especially when you have a young team that is trying to figure things out and figure out their identity and who they are. And you're seeing that get better and better and better. Before you know it, I mean, we're going to be entering the season, and we'll have, week 1 will be week 1, but by week 2, they're going to be rolling. It's not going to be halfway through the season before you go, oh, there it is. Okay, I was starting to panic there. I don't know if we had it, but okay, we have it. So either way, guys, it's going to be awesome. But hey, remember, guys, check out the pregame podcast later this week. Also, make sure join us live on game day as well. We'll be live during the entire Broncos game. David, thank you very much for joining me here as always. And Jared, first off, very special welcome back to you, man. Thank you for serving and, doing the deployments and dealing with all of that. Your presence is definitely missed here on the show, but appreciate your service, man, and everything that you're doing for the country and whatnot. So glad to have you back, buddy.
I'm happy to be back, and coming back to Broncos country has been amazing. And going to the tailgate and Lot C there with Flagman, just nothing I'd rather do than come back to a Broncos win in the way that we did it. Just super happy to be back, and ready for the rest of the Broncos season.
Love it. Well, hey guys, second half of the Broncos season coming up. So get ready for it. Lots of football left to talk about. So we'll be here every week as long as the Broncos keep playing, and even into the offseason and all that good stuff. So get ready for it. With that being said, we've been talking for a while, guys, and I know I have nothing left to say other than end the show as we always do with a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, guys. We will see you next time.
Right, and I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. 'Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro.